In today's video, I'm going to be predicting every single game within Premier League Week 14. I am losing against ChatGPT and the Random Football Scoreline Generator. Last week, that is. Overall, I'm coming second. ChatGPT has overtaken me. Yes, that's right, I am going against ChatGPT and the Random Football Scoreline Generator as an experiment. And I'm not even winning it. I am doing so bad this year, I don't even want to talk about it. Let's get on with the predictions. Fulham at Craven Cottage versus Manchester of the City. Fulham shocked me, winning 2-1 versus Spuds. They scored early on and holded off Spuds very well. I mean, near the end there was some scares for Fulham, but overall, that's not too shabby from Fulham. And now they're at home facing Man City, which hadn't looked their best, especially Erling Haaland against Leeds United. Did he get an assist? No. Did he score? No. And Man City, they only just about at the 91st minute won versus Leeds United. So, could Fulham get a point? No. The logical thing and the most probable outcome is a Manchester City win. It makes sense. I'm sure Erling Haaland will get back on scoring form. And with Phil Foden on scoring form now, that's going to give him confidence. Maybe we're going to see more and different Man City players actually scoring other than Erling Haaland. I'm going 3-1 to Manchester City. I'll give Fulham a goal because they impressed me versus Spuds. And if we move over to the Random Football Scoreline Generator, it's predicted 1-1. Again, it is random. Now over to ChatGPT's prediction.
Fulham can compete physically, but City's control and chance creation are levels above. Once they start rotating the ball, Fulham can't keep up with City's pace. Fulham to lose this 3-1 against Manchester City. A comfortable City win.
Now over to the Vitality Stadium. AFC Bournemouth versus Everton. Everton lost the last game 4-1 at the Hill Dickinson. That is bonkers. They were 4-0 down at one point. Everton are not doing bad this season, and they will definitely not get relegated, as all of you probably agree. But losing 4-1 to a team who hasn't won away from home for 7 months in the Premier League, it's not impressive. There are still concerns. You might be able to get a point or even 3 points, because Bournemouth, they have not been the best whatsoever in recent time in terms of results. But in the last game against Sunderland, I did feel like Bournemouth maybe deserves more. They were 2-0 up and then they bottled it to lose 3-2 to Sunderland. But Bournemouth never gave up to the final whistle and they were unlucky at some points. Tavernier hit the crossbar. That was a thunderstrike. And I was surprised Bournemouth didn't at least get a point. And to be fair to Bournemouth, they have been doing well this season, so I think they can get a win, especially at home, and especially that I think they're due a win. They haven't won for a while, and winning at home against Everton, which is your mid-table classic side, I think is definitely probable. I'm going for a common scoreline, which it is 2-1 to the Cherries, come the full-time whistle. But I wouldn't be surprised for an Everton draw. And the Random Football Scoreline Generator has got Everton winning this 2-1. But what does ChatGPT think?
Bournemouth's pressing at home forces mistakes, and Everton struggle to create when pinned back. Bournemouth to win this 2-1 against Everton. Bournemouth edge it with energy.
It's at St James's Park. Newcastle United versus Spuds. Now, Tottenham, those first 10 minutes, I was a bit concerned because defensively, well, I should say, Vicario, what are you doing? That was a huge mistake. He ran out outside his penalty box and he made a big mistake. Tottenham, not just that game, but overall, your form is not the best. With only 4 points in the last 5 games, it is not convincing. And going away from home against Newcastle, which finally broke the winning drought away from home, winning 4-1 versus Everton. Malik Chow playing amazing defensively and getting a brace. Yeah, it's over, Tottenham. You are not winning this. When I say it's over in this game. It's not over for you in this season. I still think you can finish top 10. But you're not winning this game, especially at St James's Park, and especially that Newcastle have won against Man City at St James's Park. Newcastle are unstoppable at home, and maybe even away now. 2-0 to Newcastle United. Eddie Howe got it right in the last game, playing Lewis Hall and Livramento. And with Nick Pope, I think, injured, that's why he played Aaron Ramsdale. And he did a fine job. And I very much hope the Random Football Scoreline Generator is correct, as much as I am. 4-1 to Newcastle. But does ChatGPT agree?
Newcastle's high press leaves space that Spurs love to break into. Tottenham's transitions make the difference. Newcastle to lose 2-1. Spurs steal it.
ChatGPT, you utter swine. That's not gonna be the result. Brighton and Hove Albion at the Amex Stadium facing Aston Villa. In my opinion, there is not much separating these two sides. So a draw is possibly the most probable, but considering Brighton are winning at the moment. Well, hold up, I'm saying that like Aston Villa aren't. Brighton's 5th, Aston Villa's 4th, but I've got this feeling that Danny Welbeck is going to score a brace, and he's going to keep up goal scoring form, and because Brighton at home, and home advantage is more of an advantage than away, I've got confidence that Brighton can win this. Aston Villa are brilliant, but to be fair, against Wolves, I did feel like they could have been more convincing. It was too close of a game against Wolves that kind of has me going towards Brighton, because Aston Villa only just about won against Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'm going for a high scoring game. Both these sides have good managers, especially Aston Villa with Unai Emery. So tactically in the attack, there are going to be goals. 3-2 to Brighton. I'm really hoping this isn't going to be a 2-2 draw, because that was my original result. So I'm hoping I'm not making a mistake going Brighton. And the Random Football Scoreline Generator is doing the complete opposite. 2-0 to Aston Villa. So let's see whether ChatGPT goes down the middle, so we all have different predictions.
Brighton's quick passing at home usually opens teams up, even strong ones like Villa. Brighton to win this 2-1. Brighton just have more fluidity.
Nope, ChatGPT also predicted a Brighton win. But at Turf Moor is next, because it's Burnley versus Crystal Palace. Burnley, you holded off Brentford for a good 81 minutes, but then you conceded a penalty. Oof. And there were 4 goals in the last 10-15 minutes, which is crazy. There's always late goals this season. And at one point, I thought it was set in stone that I was going to get that prediction correct. It looked like it was going to be 1-1 when Burnley went on to score through a penalty at the 85th minute. But no, they didn't. At home against Crystal Palace, there is a chance they could get a draw, because they holded off Brentford for 81 minutes. And I said that their defence under Scott Parker, the way he plays, was enough to hold off Brentford's attack, which was true for 81 minutes of the game. So there is some truth in that. And I think it can be said again for Crystal Palace. Even though Mateta gets in great positions and is a really good striker and is good, in terms of clinicalness from Mateta, I don't think it's the best. He gets loads of shots, that's why he can score a lot, but he does miss a lot as well. But he's an extraordinary physical, fast striker which gets into great positions. That's why I think Crystal Palace might be able to score a goal. But other than that, I was impressed with Burnley's defence to a certain point against Brentford. The fact that they managed to hold them off. So I don't think it's going to be any more than a goal to Crystal Palace. But that's about it. I don't think Burnley can score against Crystal Palace. With Mark Gay in the defence, and the way Oliver Glant has got his defence marked up, I think it's enough to win 1-0 come the final whistle. I think Crystal Palace will dominate, but will find it hard for the majority of the game to break that Burnley defence. The Random Football Scoreline Generator has it 2-2. I was tempted to go for a draw, but really, I think that's a bit random, which makes sense, considering it's a random generator.
Burnley dominate the ball but lack punch, and Palace sit deep and stay compact. So, a 1-1 draw makes sense. nothing separates them.
Well, according to ChatGPT, I guess it's not too random for the Random Football Scoreline Generator to go for a draw. But this next game is at the Molyneux Stadium. It's Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Nottingham Forest. Is this a relegation dogfight? For Wolves, I'm going to say yes. And same for Nottingham Forest. But I think Forest will finish mid-table this season. Under Sean Dyche, things have been going very well. But against Brighton, I was surprised. I backed Nottingham Forest at the City Ground to win because the way things were going. But I was wrong, and completely wrong. Brighton was all over Nottingham Forest and completely deserved that win. So Nottingham Forest aren't perfect, and Wolves have played 13 games and have not got a win. Surely that's close to record breaking in the Premier League. 2 points in 13 games. Now, I'm not going to go for Wolves to win for obvious reasons. They have been losing, and is in last place in the Premier League. But if they would get another point, it would be against Nottingham Forest, which didn't look the best in their last game against Brighton. And really, Nottingham Forest, you are lower down on the table and probably one of the more easier teams to get points against than most. I probably would go for a Forest win if they put up a bit more of a fight against Brighton. Even if they still lost, I just felt like there was too big of a margin between Forest and Brighton. That's why I'm not going to go for them to win. And I've got confidence in Wolves, not just because of all that, but because how they played against Aston Villa. They had loads of chances to get a goal. Strent Larsen got an offside goal. He had another chance as well that I remember, almost going in. Wolves didn't look terrible against Aston Villa, so I feel like at home as well, it all leads to a 1-1 draw. I think Wolves can get another point in this game, but 3 points, I don't think they look good enough to get. And the Random Football Scoreline Generator goes 1-0 to Nottingham Forest, which is very probable.
Wolves control spells of the game, Forest counter well, and their strengths cancel out each other. So a 1-1 draw is a fair result.
As ChatGPT practically copies my prediction, we move over to the Gunners. It's at the Emirates Stadium, and they are facing Brentford, a London derby. But Brentford, Igor Thiago is brilliant, isn't he? Scoring 2 goals in the last game. To be fair, Brentford, you did look like the better side throughout the game against Burnley. But still, you only just about scored in the later stages of the game. But a win's a win. And you still looked better, and you probably deserved the win at the end of it. But still, for the majority of the game, it was still 0-0. And facing Arsenal, I cannot see it. I don't want to go for it. I want to go for the obvious option. I don't want to go for a shocker. I'm going to play it safe. I'm going 4-1 to the Gunners. I know the Gunners couldn't beat a 10-man side Chelsea, but Chelsea have been looking really good. As shown, winning 3-0 against Barcelona. And Chelsea were also undefeated. And Arsenal, yes, they dropped points against Chelsea and Sunderland in recent time. They're still undefeated for like the entirety of November and the entirety of October. So me going 4-1 to Arsenal makes perfect sense. Maybe harsh on Brentford, but look, Arsenal is seriously good. The Random Football Scoreline Generator goes for a logical prediction. 2-1 Arsenal.
Arsenal's home pressure breaks teams down eventually, and Brentford can only hold out so long. Arsenal to win this 3-1. Arsenal are just too strong.
Over to Ellen Road. Leeds United versus Chelsea. Leeds United, you are in 18th position, whilst Chelsea is fighting for the title in 3rd position. It feels obvious and even logical and probable that Chelsea's going to win this game. But there's an if. Leeds fans will definitely agree Daniel Farke did good changes in this second half. And I'm sure all the Leeds fans have been shouting at Daniel Farke to change up the formation of Leeds United ever since they've been going on a losing streak. Not necessarily I said 3-5-2, but I have said in the past that Dominic Calvert-Lewin plays best with another striker next to him. And finally he did. Now if Daniel Farke sees that plan worked, which it did against Man City, playing a 3-5-2, and actually goes ahead with it against Chelsea, I think they might get a point. I think it's also down to the fight of Leeds United. Because they haven't got a point in the last 4 games, they've in fact lost their last 4 games, it feels like there's going to be more fight than there would if Leeds United drew a couple of those 4 games or won one of those 4 games. Feels like they want to show a reaction and they want to help Daniel Farke as much as possible to keep his job. Now Chelsea does not have Caicedo after he got suspended, but they didn't need Caicedo because they still managed to score with Trevor Chalobah and still managed to get a point against Arsenal despite having no Caicedo for a lot of that game. And now they've got Cole Palmer back, Chelsea. So I think there will definitely be goals for Chelsea. But surely Leeds United can't go another game without a loss. With a loss. And with the home fight of Leeds United, I'm confident. I'm going to Desmond Tutu. Play Calvert-Lewin and Metcha up front. 2-2. It does concern me when the Random Football Scoreline Generator agrees with me going for a draw. It's supposed to be random, so it feels like my prediction is random and unlikely to happen.
Leeds' press leads gaps in their defence, so Chelsea's pace can exploit those gaps, especially later in the game. So, Leeds United are going to lose 2-1 against Chelsea. Chelsea quality just shows.
Anfield up next. Liverpool versus Sunderland. Isak, well done for getting your goal. It doesn't mean you're back playing amazing, Isak, but it will be a good confidence booster to Alexander Isak. It's still going to take time. I still feel like there is a good striker in there, even though it pains me to say it because he decided to leave the club, force his way out of the club. There is still a good striker in there, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. He did only score 1 goal. It's not like he had a game of his life, and that's only 1 game, and it's against West Ham, who were in 17th. But Liverpool played well. I'm not confident enough to go for a convincing win, especially as Sunderland did very well, especially Lefebvre did very well. A goal and assist, and not just the goal from the penalty by Lefebvre, but he actually won back the ball, received the ball, and passed it, and he actually made that penalty happening by winning back the ball. And he had a fantastic game, and it was a great corner that he managed to get an assist from. And it was a great comeback by Sunderland to make it 3-2. So it's definitely going to be a challenge for Liverpool. But considering Sunderland lost to the likes of Fulham 1-0 away from home, and normally their home record is much better than their away record, I think Liverpool can win this. 2-1, just about. I've still got trust that Liverpool can win. Again, even though they have been shaky. I'm not confident in saying this. Whilst the Random Football Scoreline Generator goes for a 1-1 draw, which to be fair could happen. Over to ChatGPT though.
Liverpool overwhelmed teams at Anfield with tempo and pressing, and Sunderland won't handle it. So, Liverpool to win this 3-0. It's going to be an easy Liverpool win.
ChatGPT really does think Liverpool are back with a 3-0 win. And it could happen, but I'm just not convinced. But the next game is at Old Trafford. It is Manchester United versus West Ham United. West Ham. There was some good chances that you had, but I'm thinking away from home against Man United, who I did get a win against Crystal Palace, but I don't think it was like a flawless win. It was a very close game, and they did surprise me. And Bruno Fernandes was amazing. And Mason Mount, that was a great finish. And Man United seem to be more consistent lately. And with them having home advantage here, I do want to slightly edge Man United. Especially that West Ham is all the way down in 17th. I'm going to edge Man United just for my third 2-1 scoreline, obviously towards Manchester United. It's a common scoreline, so it makes sense why I've repeated it 3 times. Well, the Random Football Scoreline Generator agrees with me. Exactly. But what does ChatGPT think?
United at home creates steady chances, while West Ham rely on counters that get limited here. Final score, Man United 2, West Ham 1. Tight, but United edge it.
It's set in stone. Man United are going to win 2-1. All 3 of us think it is, so surely it's going to happen. But Let's move on to goal of the week. And I'm giving it to Camara for Aston Villa. A nice pass and composure by McGinn. And a just brilliant, perfect goal by Camara. Top right finish outside the box. Mwah. Get your predictions down in the comments. Get a good discussion rolling about. I had a terrible week last week, so take my predictions with a pinch of salt. But I'll see you in the next Mr. Footballer Loons video. Toodaloo for now.